And we are back with JJ French of Twisted Sister. We were talking about when you first got signed on to Atlantic, and we just started touching base on MTV. Your music videos became like a staple of MTV, and you guys kind of became known for having a specific style. It was almost comedic to me, of music video that everyone loved. Was it the band that came up with that idea? The studio producers? Who came up with the idea for that?
The band was a fan of Animal House, which is why Mark Metcalf is in it. You know, I kind of like look at the whole MTV era and I say to myself, the bands that made it because of goofy rock videos paid the price of never being taken seriously.
Well, and that raises an interesting question, because I've talked with other artists about this, and it's always an interesting perspective to get. Did you ever exit the studio fully believing a certain song you recorded was definitely going to be a hit, only to have a completely different song be the one that everybody loved?
Maybe. I mean, Dee writes anthems. He's been always writing anthems. He goes back to I'll Never Grow Up Now as the first anthem. If you look at the template of the song, you could say to yourself, wow, I can see elements of that song in our first single, Never Grow Up Now. And our second single, Bad Boys of Rock and Roll, was also an anthem. And then The Kids Are Back is an anthem, and You Can't Stop Rock and Roll are anthems. I don't know if when I heard We're Not Gonna Take It, I thought, wow, man, that's huge.
Was there ever a song that you guys really loved that just got cut by a producer or the label?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we presented a whole bunch of songs for our first album. Comeback was one of them. It got turned down for the first album. It was one of the first ones. Dee wrote Pay the Price, Come Back. Pay the Price, Come Back, and Under the Blade, I think, were the first three that Dee wrote.
When you guys did Stay Hungry, when you guys were in the studio while you were doing it, did you guys have an inkling that it was potentially gonna like make this stamp on or permanent mark on music history, kind of like it has?
Well, if you were watching your contemporary artists at the same time, there seemed to be a pattern. And I kind of describe it as little jets on the runway. Every major label had a little jet, a little heavy metal jet. This is the metal jet called Motley. This is the metal jet called Rat. This is the metal jet called Whitesnake. And every 2 months, this little jet would take off, and it would take off with a video, and it would be a hit. So when the Rat jet took off, and we were finishing our record in California, our engineer, Jeff Workman, who had worked on Motley's albums with Werman, said to us, I guarantee this album will go platinum. I remember he said that in the studio. He said, I guarantee you this is a platinum record. So that was the first time that I ever heard somebody say, oh, this is a hit. And then I thought, okay, maybe we're one of those jets on the runway. Maybe our timing for the first time is impeccable, because our timing had been terrible. All these other years, we came in afterwards. You know, we were the band that kind of copied a look that was looking like something. But, you know, here Twisted was the leading edge. We weren't the back end. That's a really important thing to understand. You know, there's leading edges, there's middles, and then there's ends. So we were in the leading edge. So Motley comes out, their hit. Rat comes out, their hit. Quiet Riot opened the door with Mental Health in '82. So I would say Quiet Riot first.
Now, and you guys lived through some of the more famous and infamous moments in music and touring history. Are there any memories that stick out to you most from your touring days? I mean, is there a story that's so crazy or off the wall that people never believe you when you tell it?
Oh, and I remember we pulled up to one of the clubs, and it was packed with women. And we're thinking, wow, man, chicks, you know, this is great. You know, they're everywhere. Like, you know, this is what it's like to be a rock star. It turns out that the opening act was male strippers. so we load in the back thinking, man, this is going to be like, the chicks are great. The chicks hear the girls screaming, And you look out, and there's like male strippers. The minute they get left, all the girls come.
Yeah, and then Dee has to come out with his face. Right.
Yeah, come out and leave, you know. So the girls so that kind of sucked.
Was there anyone you toured with or played festivals with whose backstage persona was either actually greater than their onstage persona or vice versa, like totally opposite of what you think?
I hate to tell you this, I never talked to anybody. I had no interest. I was so busy trying to make sure we were okay that on the rare occasion that I got to see a band. I got to see a band for a song and never bothered to hang out. I never had an interest. I was older than I was 34 at the time, and I really didn't care. My job was to go on stage and blow you away anyway. So if my job was to blow you off the stage, I don't care who you are. That was the predatory view of Twisted Sister as a bar band. We need to destroy you. It just means we need to go over better than you. That's what I mean. Doesn't mean I don't like you. Doesn't mean you're not great people. Doesn't mean your band isn't great. That's not the point. The point is just to put on a better show. That's my job. So I remember the first time we played with ZZ Top, they arrived separately. They went on stage separately and they left separately. And I said to somebody, "What's up with that?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, it's just a business to them.
Yeah,
they just show
do it and get out."
Yeah, and then I realized I'm in the only business where we sell this myth that there's a family here. In any other business, you go into the office. You don't go home with your coworker. So this one particular show with ZZ Top, the guys all showed up separately. They all walked up on stage. They did it a million times. They know the drill. Song starts, whatever, intro song. They do their show. Everyone's loving it. It was great. Got off separately, separate group, separate friends, and disappeared.
I really appreciate you being on, JJ. Wow. I mean, we've covered so much ground. So just thank you, ladies and gentlemen, from Twisted Sister, JJ French.
Thank you. Take care, David.